But before we go, let's move on to round up the other stories making the headlines this week. Interesting one about Ben White not getting the game time probably that he wanted, not least because of injury, but also because of the form of Jurrien Timber at Arsenal. And a number of clubs in the Premier League and in Europe are keeping an eye on his situation there at Arsenal. The information we have is it's unlikely to be a move in January, but more looking ahead to the summer. So if we were to fast forward, Dan, to that time, which Premier League club do you think would benefit most from Ben White? I'm guessing there would be a few.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ben White's a great player. And as you've touched on there, it's really a measure of how ludicrously stacked Arsenal are at the back, that he's not getting in their side. I know he has had injury problems as well, but there was a period where he was pretty flawless for them week in, week out, and obviously can play a couple of positions, and just appeared to be a very, very reliable Premier League player. So I don't think there's many clubs in the Premier League that wouldn't benefit from having Ben White in the squad, to be honest. I mean, I know we're looking ahead to the summer, but I mean, even Liverpool, who now have a problem at right back with Conor Bradley's injury, Newcastle have an issue there as well because Livramento's got another hamstring injury. So those are two clubs. Whether or not Arsenal would deal with them is a different question. But those are two clubs that I think would benefit from having Ben White in the squad. I know he's been strongly linked with Everton. With the very greatest respect to Everton, I think he could play for a club pushing for Europe. I'll be interested in Sam's take about Villa. I mean, they've obviously got options there, and Matty Cash is extremely reliable. But as I said at the top, I don't think there's many clubs in the Premier League that wouldn't want a Ben White in their squad.
Yeah, Villa are running on one right back, really. It's a dicey game to play. Lamar Bogard can play there, but he's not most comfortable there. Andres Garcia has been injured and has barely played since about May. So Villa are playing a dicey game at right back, and Ben White, just like everything I know about what Unai Emery has looked for in a right back in previous roles, Ben White looks like that player. It's the kind of Juan Foyt hybrid centre back, right back that Emery just has always liked, the one that can tuck in to make a back three and allow the left back to fly forward, which is really how Villa's squad has been built, with Ian Maatsen flying up and down the left. So I think Villa would be a dream scenario for Ben White, to be honest with you, if that were to happen over the course of 2026. But we'll see. There's a lot of football to play yet for Arsenal, and he might work his way back in.
Sam, let's talk Manchester United very quickly. I don't know whether you've noticed, but they've got a new head coach in situ. His name's Michael Carrick. And according to some newspaper reports, former Wolves midfielder Ruben Neves is on Carrick's shortlist to help solve the midfield conundrum that exists at Old Trafford just now. Look, every week on this podcast, we seem to be discussing a different midfielder to fill that void at Manchester United. Neves, another name on that list now. What do you think about that one? Would that be a good fit for them?
So this question has become more difficult, hasn't it, post Ruben Amorim, because for the last 14 months, we've looked at every Manchester United midfielder and asked the question, is this the right player to play next to Bruno Fernandes? That is no longer necessarily the question, because Ruben Amorim is gone and we may not see the midfield two ever again. We might be looking at a midfield three. Kobbie Mainoo may become a star player. We just don't know. So it's hard to place him in the team, given that Michael Carrick is now the manager and things are about to change. So all we can really do is look at this in really simple terms and say Ruben Neves is 28 years old. It was not that long ago that he was spraying passes across the pitch at Premier League level and at a leading Premier League level. He's been in the Portuguese national setup the entire time. And correct me if I'm wrong, Dharmesh, but the reported fee I saw here was around the £20 million mark. I mean, Ruben Neves for 20 million. Are you joking? Absolutely. You don't have to think too hard about that one, do you?
You file that one under no-brainer, do you?
Probably, yeah.
Finally, Dan, moving from United to City and Mark Guehi in particular, they're currently the only club who are looking to sign him in this transfer window. Of course, that could change the later we get in this window. and let's see if they can meet what Crystal Palace would value him at. Liverpool, Bayern Munich, Arsenal also reported to be interested in the England international as well. And according to Sky in Germany, Bayern Munich have been making real efforts to try and convince Guehi to sign a pre-contract agreement because, of course, he can speak to clubs outside England. We've spoken to Sam many times about the Guehi situation. I just want to ask you this one, Dan. How do you see this one playing out? Do you think he stays put, or do you think he does make that move this month?
Well, I think Crystal Palace would be desperate to do a deal this month. I'm sure Steve Parish would drive him to Munich himself if he could in January, or indeed to Manchester, because Palace will want to get a fee for him. Even if that upsets Oliver Glasner. By contrast, I think the sensible thing, arguably, for Guehi to do is just kind of hold on till the summer. He's got a kind of understanding with Palace that he was going to do that, I think, anyway. So if he runs down his contract, he'll get a nice big fee when he signs for a new club, and he'll have his pick of clubs across Europe. He'll have a lot more options, presumably, at the end of the season. So that seems like the smart